Ladies and gentlemen, this is internet personality Vangelus here with a look at one of the final throws of the G.I. Joe Retaliation toy line, and one that has nothing to do with the films. This is the quote-unquote ultimate Cobra Commander, though ultimate was not actually printed on the final packaging. And it was on some of the other guys who have that moniker in the solicits. Speaking of which, I gotta say, the Retaliation packaging is such a boring letdown after the last couple years of friggin' cool and striking Joe cards. I feel no remorse in doing what I am about to do. Yeah, no remorse. I had never realized just how thin and gangly the 25th anniversary commanders were until I saw this guy. He takes the necessary thin proportions and bulks them out just enough to feel like a real person rather than a stickman in a suit. This also gives his entire sculpt a very satisfying feel, enhanced by the slight end thickenings of his accoutrements, such as his belt and gloves. The blue plastic is a delightful semi-dark hue, with fairly clean paintwork on his jacket buttons and outfit accessories. Also, on the hooded head sculpt, I'm fairly happily surprised by the lack of embarrassing splatter eye syndrome. Oh, so yeah, there are two different heads. They're quite easy to swap thanks to a nicely toleranced ball joint connection. The faceplate head has solid vac metal chrome with a PVC helmet on top too. A neat idea that I kind of find annoying after having accidentally knocked the aforementioned helmet askew for the 14th or 15th time. The commander also has a little knife for elegant shanking, which stores in a little sheath on his leg. It's unpainted black plastic, and thanks to its tiny handle, I cannot for the life of me tell you how to get him to actually hold it. Cobra Commander can hold his pistol, which looks all retro laser gun and has no storage options outside of, well, his hand. The classic spinal holster was omitted this time, and honestly, I'm okay with that. He looks way better with a clean back, but without that spinal holster, he really could have used a proper hip holster in its stead. The big accessory is this helicopter backpack, which looks absolutely gorgeous. There are heaps of sculpted details supported by great paint apps and really strong text tampography. It uses a classic backpeg attachment bolstered by a neat shoulder strap gimmick that's mostly for show. There are also a pair of clear blue bombs that store inside, which look pretty cool. The sad thing is, looks are all this thing has going for it. There's a button to spin the propeller, but it has way too much resistance, and the blades barely move before they grind to a halt. There's no free spinning here, it's just Yeah. The other button is supposed to deploy the bombs, and, well, this. How embarrassing. Finally, though, there's a dog tag-styled stand, though it seems that at this point the dog tag motif is more heavily implied rather than hardcore sculpted in. Though I suppose that makes this actually work better as a stand. Something wants a man! His ball-jointed neck has a pretty good range, this wants a man. But this is the helmet thing I'm talking about in far more glorious detail. I grabbed this helmet to move it, and the helmet starts moving around, and then it falls off, and I appreciate what they're going for here, but I wish there was a peg or something just so I could push this in and have it sit solidly on his chrome faceplate, which is totally a fingerprint magnet. However, the head posability does work. There's a decent range beyond a swivel, and if you do swap it, you still get a decent range with the hood on. I mean, the hood will impact the tilt and the nod, but there's just a minor kind of inconsequential tad of it there. Moving outside of the neck, you've got some pin disc shoulders and pin disc elbows, and there's a swivel right above the pin disc elbow. And these joints make me happy, because these have the soft detenting that Joe toys have had here and there. But it's really soft detenting, so while the detents are here, here, and here, you can move it between the detents without a huge impact or without a whole lot of resistance. So I very much appreciate that. And there's also a wrist swivel, and on this hand, the hand can bend down like that, because he's shooting a gun. Over here, the posability is identical, the tolerances are just as good, but the wrist is slightly different. While it swivels, instead of bending down like this, it bends down like this. Or, alternatively up like this, so you can be like, stop! And that's kind of cool. He's got this ab joint, and I was ready for this just to be like, oh, the waist swivel, it's up here instead. But, lo and behold, he's actually got some smooth, again, unresisted, unspringy ab action. It's only a little bit, it's mostly forward, but That's a lot more than I was expecting, especially given how tight this looks sculpt-wise when he's upright. So, hats off. The biggest hats off, though, are on the hips here, because these are simple ball socket joints. There's a metal ball, there's a plastic socket. Maybe this will change down the road, but the tolerance on this connection is so nice. Smooth, but kinda heavy, and it's everything I want out of a ball joint. And on this scale, on a mass production toy in the G.I. Joe line, that makes me super happy. His knees are double jointed, again with soft detents, so you get a really good amount of range in terms of the bend. Problem is, there's no thigh swivel, and that makes the double jointed knee a little superfluous, because it's kind of stuck in this position. His hips can go outwards like this, but a thigh swivel would have been perfect there, and it only hurts so much that it's not there because of this double jointed knee, honestly. And a similar case happens down here at the ankles. We've got now these are really tight detents. It's a little bit trickier to get between the clicks, but there are more clicks for this forward and backwards motion. You can see how basically the black shoe is a separate piece, and then this kind of weird cankle thing is part of the shin sculpt here. There's actually an ankle tilt because it's like a disc with a peg sticking out that the shoe pegs into, so where it pegs in, the shoe can tilt. Now, I wanted to say that this ankle tilt was cool but so painful because it would be useless since there's no sideways cut, so you can't swivel the foot, so if he tilts his ankle, you can't then turn it back this way to be in line with this foot so he can stand, legs akimbo. He kind of gets more and more foot splayed the more akimbo his legs go. However, I proved myself wrong and ate some major crow because I got him into a pose that not only used the ankle tilts, but had him wearing his backpack and did not use the stand. So, this guy can use his joints. However, if he had a thigh cut, if he had an ankle cut, this would be the perfect Cobra Commander body. Instead, it's so almost the perfect Cobra Commander body, which is kind of a bummer because I don't know if we're going to get another one of these anytime soon. Cobra la 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 la. This guy comes so close. He is by far the best classic Cobra Commander toy I've had in my hands to date. His sculpt and paintwork show the efforts of a team who want to do this guy right. But everything else comes just short of that high benchmark. His posability feels good, but the lack of thigh or ankle cut swivels is too hard for me to ignore. His accessories look good, but the knife is all for show, and the helicopter backpack is a bit of a debacle with a nice paint job. This is the best retro Cobra Commander figure the line has put out in its history, but I've got to say, I am kind of glad the word ultimate remains in solicitations only. And I really hope the line gets to take one last crack at good old CC before the opportunity passes by for the foreseeable future. Anyway, this has been Internet Personality Vangelus, and I actually have most of the first wave of the Retaliation line. It was a pity purchase after the film's success potential got kneecapped by that post-production delay for more 3D and more Channing Tatum. I should videotape them someday, but that box of toys still just makes me feel little more than an urge to take the Joe franchise out for Sundays and give it a big warm hug to say that everything will be okay, man. Tape. Knife.